Welcome. I had a conversation with someone recently who I only just met on the night that we had the conversation, actually. They were very open, very wise, very intelligent. And the conversation just that we spoke about was about their experience as a gay individual and having to air that truth to their parents and to their friends. At the stage that we had the conversation, it was only a very recent thing that they'd spoken about it openly, and I was particularly interested in their experience with their mother. You know, another friend of mine who is a gay individual had a very similar experience with their mother. You know, both of their fathers, funnily enough, were open to it, but their mothers seemed to be a little bit more reserved, although neither of their mothers, to their credit, had disowned their kids and still loved them very much. So, you know, I think these guys really were in a good space compared to some. But it was very interesting reflecting on that lack of understanding, and particularly the person that I spoke to most recently, their mother, who is Catholic, just, I guess, spoke from a Catholic point of view about the way in which an individual should not be gay. It's not the way that God made us. I'm not really sure exactly what the argument is, to be fair, but I do know that this person that I spoke to disagreed with the argument coming from the Bible about that. So that was really enough for me. I drew upon a talk which was given by a Catholic priest, funnily enough, to really show how not accepting someone because of that particular difference, or any difference for that matter, is not love, is not truth, is not right. And this talk that was given by this priest was about sin. Now, there's lots of preconceived ideas about the word sin, and I want you to just let go of these for a moment, because I've never heard it explained quite so well. He said that sin is just another word for an action that has a negative impact on our relationships, whether it be a relationship with the world, with other people, with animals, with nature. It doesn't matter. Anything that impacts negatively on those relationships is a sin. And so, someone who comes out as a gay individual and speaks the truth of how they feel is actually doing the opposite of sin. In telling the truth, they are creating stronger relationships by being open with those around them. And they are creating they will, if they choose to have a partner for life, they will choose a partner which is one that they're attracted to, and attraction is on many levels, not just physical, but emotional, intellectual, and so forth. So when they are truthful about this and open, they are creating stronger relationships with their family and friends, because they're being truthful and completely transparent about their life. And they're able to choose partners who are and be transparent with those partners, as opposed to being forced into a relationship, a heterosexual relationship, which their heart is not in. And so there's no sin there. It's only strength. It's only amazing relationships that they'll build out of being truthful about that particular topic. And the sin really lay with the person who is saying that what they're doing is wrong. I mean, granted, if you feel that way, it's good to get it out. It's not like you should just keep it up, bottled up inside, because you'll never grow if you don't. But it's important to note that the negative impact on the relationship occurs when we point out that they are wrong. that their feelings that they're having within themselves are wrong. We have absolutely no right to tell anyone else what is right and what is wrong in terms of their feelings, particularly that of a sexual nature. I mean, there's enough people in the world, I believe, that we've established that this is... There's enough people who have been made this way to really prove that maybe they're supposed to be here. Maybe they're not wrong. Maybe they're right. Maybe they're here to teach us a lesson. A lesson that there is nothing in this world that has to be a certain way. That everything is open and everything has a multitude of answers. And as long as there's love, as long as there's, well, in this case, a lack of sin behind that, and we're building strong relationships with everything, then I definitely see no harm in it. I think it's beautiful, in fact. And we can use this example of sin with everything, like with relationships, with our most intimate partners particularly. We see the good and the bad, we see everything, and sometimes that's not nice. But what is really amazing is when your partner tells you how they feel and it is negative, and you can stand up and you can choose something. You can choose something that is different to what you're expected to choose. Which is, you can choose to get rid of your ego, and you can choose not to take offense to this negativity that they're throwing at you, and you can choose to be present with them and accept their feelings. And still love them, despite the fact that they're feeling negatively about you. A really good example of this in my own life is my girlfriend and I, on the particular day that this happened, I had just the most amazing day at work that I believe I've ever had. Just the presence of mind was amazing. And I went away from that day at work, and I was feeling a little bit lower by the end of it, just a little bit. Considering how I felt, it was still quite good. And my girlfriend started to tell me about her problems, if you like, started to be negative, not towards me even, just towards, certain aspects of her life. And that really got to me. It didn't make any sense that it got to me, and I saw that I shouldn't be upset, but I was. And she could feel that, because she's quite in tune with my feelings. Very wise person, and she got upset with me for it. I mean, rightfully so. I had no problems with her getting upset with me. And that was the amazing thing, I had a problem for no reason, really, just because she was being negative about her life, not about me. And I gave that back to her. I reflected that back to her. And she got it. She got that negativity and reflected it back to me again, even more magnified than before. Every time we reflect it, that negativity, it seems to come to the other person escalated, in an escalated form. And so when I received it back from her, it was really quite hostile, and I was okay with that. And just the very fact that I could be okay with that, it didn't change her necessarily. She was upset with me for the entire evening, but that was fine. I still showed her love. I still showed her compassion. I still asked her if she wanted me to do things for her. I still interacted with her as if she was happy. Now that did absolutely nothing for my ego. My ego hated it. My mind says, oh, she's being silly. You don't deserve this. She's crazy for treating you like this. But when I felt it, when I really felt into the situation, and I felt the feelings of love that I had for her, and I felt the compassion that I had for her, considering I'd reacted negatively to something that I shouldn't have reacted to negatively at all. It just showed that, hey, we all make mistakes. And although she shouldn't really be reacting negatively to my negativity because I'd admitted it, I mean, even if I hadn't, the very fact that I made the same mistake about something that wasn't even directed at me just shows that I should have compassion for her, that we all make mistakes on that level, and that it's not necessarily because of the issue that we're upset with. It can be something far more subconscious. And so when I had that understanding and I let go of my ego, I acted in a way that was the opposite of sin. It was mutually beneficial and it was self-honoring. I acted in love and I accepted all of her negativity and I transmuted it into something other than that. And that was truly powerful. Now this is an example of an intimate relationship, but this can be brought into every relationship. When a customer comes to you angry, and you can take that anger and you can feed them love, in maybe not the way that you would an intimate partner, obviously, but it's still love. Positivity is still love. Happiness is still love. It changes them in a way that you really have to experience for yourself. And I was told something that was really amazing, a really great story, which really is the perfect example of this. There was a Buddhist monk and all of his disciples walking along a road, and an individual who didn't like Buddhism very much came up to the Buddhist monk and started berating him, saying that he disagreed with Buddhism and that he thought that they were bad people for trying to teach it. Now the monk smiled the whole time at the individual who's berating him. And after a while, the individual just left. Afterwards, some of the disciples came up to the Buddhist monk and said, "We disagree with what you did. You should have really spoken up about why, explained yourself, explained why he was wrong. Why didn't you do that?" And the Buddhist monk just said, "When I give you a present and you don't accept it, who owns the present?" They said, "Well, you do, because I don't want it." And he said, "That's exactly how it is with emotions, with feelings." Now, if that individual asked me to explain myself rather than just yelling at me, I would have been happy to. But he never asked the question. He only ever wanted to push his negative feelings onto me, and I just didn't accept them. And I gave him love. And he chose to leave our company because he couldn't exist in a place of love. He wanted to keep that anger. He felt uncomfortable with it. And that's fine. But that is why I did what I did. Really amazing. Thank you for listening.